Hello everybody, welcome to Midwest Imagery. We've been seeing how to do some minor adjustments in post-processing, and today I'm going to show you a fun way to use some selective color in an image. And this particular technique is useful for a lot of things. You can make somebody black and white except for the color of their eyes or certain part of their clothes, or bouquet that a bride is holding, she can be black and white, and the bouquets can be bright, normal color. And this one's a picture of a climbing rose, and we're going to do just that. We're going to desaturate everything, and then we're going to bleed a little bit of the color back into it. And so let me just get my stuff set up and I'll be right back. Okay, I'm back, and we're going to see how easy it is to desaturate this shot and just have the color of the flowers stuck back in here. And what I'm going to do is just double click on this thumbnail to open it into Camera Raw. And here we are in Camera Raw, and I don't really care how this looks right now because we're going to desaturate it anyway, so I'm just going to open it right into Photoshop by clicking on this open button. And here we are in Photoshop. Now there are several different ways to do this, but for this lesson I'm going to show you a fairly quick and easy way to do it. We'll have to paint some of the flowers back in, but that's okay. And we're going to do this using an adjustment layer, a hue and saturation adjustment layer. And the adjustment layers are found at the bottom of our layers panel. There's a row of icons, and the circle that's half black and half white, if we just click on that, we see a list of adjustment layers available to us. We're going to use this hue and saturation. And the nice thing about these adjustment layers is if we go to our layers tab, they all come with a layer mask on it already. So we're going to use this to our advantage. I'm going back to the properties tab where all of our controls are for our hue and saturation layer. But the thing that I'm going to use here is you go over to the upper right hand corner, and there's this upward pointing index finger icon, and this is called the targeted adjustment tool, or the TAT. So I'm going to click on that and use it, and you notice that my cursor has turned into a eyedropper. So all I do now is click on, I'm going to click on this green, and we'll notice that the green or yellows will be highlighted on the layer. And all I'm going to do is, while I'm holding the click, is just drag this all the way to the left to -100. And you notice that that got rid of a lot of our color here. It's preserving some of the flowers that will help us here, but there's some hues down in here too, so I'm going to just click here and drag that all the way to the left. And that's pretty desaturated now as well. There are some cyan colors on the smudges of this old glass, so I'm going to click on one of those and drag that all the way to the left. Now I'm going to zoom in with using my Command plus, and just make sure that there aren't any colors that need to be addressed. And I'm thinking we're pretty good. Notice it got rid of all of this, all of the rust that was along here, and all these blue colors, and there's a little hue, little blue hue on the window frame itself, but they're all gone now with just a few swipes, and this is looking pretty good. So what I'm going to do is zoom out with Command minus. I'm going to select my brush tool, and I'm going to right click and set my hardness of my brush edge to about 50-60%. I'm at 57 now. That should be pretty good. And then press the return key. And what this is going to do is help us to avoid overspray, because I don't really want to bleed very much of this green back in here at all, and I'll show you in a second. So I'm just going to zoom in, Command plus. I'm going to get fairly large so I can actually see what I'm doing. And we can see that a lot of the centers have been eliminated when we hit on the oranges and the yellows. But that's okay too, because now with this white layer mask, we just have to make sure that our foreground color is black, which it is. And if it isn't black, if it's reversed, if you have a white foreground color and a black background color, just either press the letter X on your keyboard, or you can press this curved arrow one way or the other. But we want to paint with a black brush on a white layer mask, and that's what we're doing. And I make my brush larger or smaller using the bracket keys. And the left bracket key makes it smaller, and the right bracket key makes it bigger. So I'm just going to start right in here, and I can get fairly close to the edges without having to be too concerned about overspray. Now if I had a softer brush, then we would be spilling over quite a bit. And then we'd have to go back and fix that. So this is why I'm using a harder edged brush. I'm going to pop that. I'm just going to hit all of these because some of the colors has been removed and some of it hasn't. But this is what I'm going to be doing. I'm just bleeding all of these colors back in, just painting on each one of them fairly quickly. And they don't have to be really precise either, because we'll see in a moment how this is working out. It might take me a few minutes to do this, but it'll be worth it. And you see how some of those centers of these flowers have been desaturated, and now we're putting the color back into them. All we're doing is punching a hole in that layer mask so that we can allow the original color to bleed through while having the rest of it be desaturated. A lot of these are pretty good. Most of the stuff that we're looking at is going to be the orange centers, but it doesn't ever hurt to just check and make sure, because I'm getting a little bit back in, a little bit more color in this little group here too. And I don't have my pen tablet with me right now, so I'm just using my trackpad, which works just fine too. Let's pop on that one, hit these. What I like to do is usually just kind of divide this into quarters and paint everything in the one area so it doesn't get to seem like it might be a little overwhelming. Even though it's not, it goes pretty quick. There's a little bud right there we'll tap on, a little bud there. See if we got any over here. Yep. And like I say, most of these don't need a whole lot, and we'll know right away when we click them. It's just generally the centers get desaturated with this method. And then what we can also do is check to see what it looks like. I hold my Option key and click on the layer mask thumbnail. And this is what we're doing. We're just punching all these little holes in the layer mask to let the colors bleed back through, and then option click to get us back to our other view, and to zoom back in and paint. So I try to stay away from these closed buds in this area too, but if I did paint over one that got green again on me right here, all I'll do is press X so that white is my foreground color and that acts as an eraser, and I'll just paint back over it. And mostly the red has stayed. It's our centers, so I'm going to hit most of those first. A little bud right there. If I click on the flower petals and it doesn't change the color, then I'm going to be good, and I just concentrate on the centers. But right here we had a little bit of loss of the color too, so we don't have to be very precise, because the way this shot is going to end up looking will be just fine, and you won't see any little tiny bits that maybe have not been painted. Most of the stuff that we're doing with our photography is directing our viewers to what we want to see in our images. And I just want them to see this, first and foremost, the roses, and then the rest of the image will take care of itself. And just keep painting these in. I'm going to zoom out and see where I'm at. Pretty good here. Try to run through all of these with one swoop. Got those, got that. Over here. Zoom in, Command plus, and then we'll hit these guys over here. Like that. I like to work at this, zoomed way in. I'm at 400% now, just so that I can see what I'm doing. And here's, I got a little overspray, so I'm going to press the letter X to make my brush white, and I'll paint this stuff back out so you get that tint away. Now just remember to go back to, press the X and go back to your black brush so you can continue painting the flowers in. Make my brush a little bigger. Oops. Make my brush a little smaller and clean that up. Go back to the black. Kind of like that. So I have a little bit of green right here, but I'm going to leave that so you can see that it really isn't going to be a big problem when we are finished with this project. Just because I'm at 400% now and you can really see it, but you won't be able to see it when you're at, whatever size you're going to print it, 4 by 6, 5 by 7, 8 by 10, whatever. You won't really see that. Let's see what that looks like. I'm just zooming out, Command minus. I've got a little one right here that I missed, so I'm just going to hit that right now. That looks pretty good. Let's see what we have. I think that's pretty good. Let's zoom out a little bit more and see what our mask looks like. Option, click on the layer mask thumbnail. That's probably pretty close. I'm going to just get back to my view here. And zoom in, Command plus. Just kind of give it a once over again. Looks like we've got them all, except for that one. Maybe this one. What I'm looking for are obvious centers of the blossoms that haven't been recolored yet. And there, that looks pretty good. There's one other thing that I'm going to clean up, but let's see what it looked like before and after. Here's our before. Here's our after. And just this little simple fix makes a huge difference. But what I'm also going to do here is hide these stalks that are going up the building here. I don't really like them here. So I'm going to make a merged layer. Both of these are combined with the Shift Option Command E shortcut. And I'm going to rename this Shingles, because I'm going to just copy these shingles here and then slide them over. Okay, so let's just zoom in and see how that looks. It looks pretty good. I think we got it. I'll zoom out again, Command minus. Looks pretty good. So now these stems up here, we're going to fix those two. We're going to fix this a fairly easy way. And what I'm going to do is select these shingles and just slide them over, put them on their own layer. So I'm going to do that. I'm going to use my polygonal lasso tool, and all I'm going to do here is click and then drag down to about the shadow line and click to change direction, and then I'm going to drag it over to about here, click, I'm just making a rectangle of these shingles. And when I get to the starting point, we should see a little circle by that cursor, which we see right there, and then I click, then I closed it. Now since I have a selection tool, I'm going to feather this selection so it's not got sharp hard edges, and I'm going to do that by right clicking and selecting feather. 7 radial pixel, the radius of 7 pixels will be way too much. Perfect. Now we've got this selection, and I'm just going to take it off of here, create a new layer using the keyboard shortcut of Command J. And here's our shingle layer right there. So whatever tool I have, if I press the Command key, it gives me the move tool. And I'm just going to move this over, following those guides. And I'm going to stop about right there. This looks pretty good. And zoom in. Again, I'm at 300%, and it's kind of hard to see where it was. So we're going to call that good. But what that does for us now is we see some roses that are kind of stuck underneath these shingles, and we're just going to fix those a little bit. I'm going to put a layer mask on this layer using this icon at the bottom of my palette, my layers palette, that says it's a rectangle with a dark circle in the middle of it. And there's my white layer mask, and I'm going to be painting with a black brush so that I can reveal some of these. And what I'll do here to help me is just lower the opacity of there, and then I can kind of paint these right back in like that. I'll do this one too. See if that one needs any help. Yeah, it kind of does. And then raise the opacity back up. See if I need any more. I'm not so sure that I do. I think that looks pretty good. Let's see. Here's the original. Here's the original. Here's what we just did. I don't mind this at all. I mean, if you wanted to, you could clone a couple more of these to fill in a spot or make it a little more rounded, but this looks just fine to me. And that's pretty much it, how we can, in 4 layers, turn this into this. So let me get this shut down and I'll be right back. All right, that's an easy way to desaturate an image and bleed selective color back in. We also did a little bit of remodeling on the exterior of that building, and just that little bit of post-processing changed the entire look of this shot. Now it makes it more rustic, nostalgic, sentimental, whatever you want to use to describe it. The idea is that whatever looks good to you is good, and even more important, if it looks good to me, then you're good. Practice this on any kind of picture if you have Photoshop, but if not, then maybe you want to go out and get it. So that's going to wrap it up for today. I want to thank you for watching. I look forward to seeing you soon.